What could possibly drive a woman to become a serial killer? This question takes us back to the early life of Nannie Doss, an unassuming woman from Alabama. Her story begins in a time of innocence, yet beneath the surface, a tale of torment and dissatisfaction was quietly brewing. As a young woman, Nannie was wedded not once but multiple times, each marriage marked by a unique brand of unhappiness. From deceit to betrayal, emotional abuse to unrequited love, she experienced it all. Each disappointing relationship etched deeper into her psyche, fostering a growing resentment and bitterness. These experiences, seemingly ordinary to the unsuspecting eye, were the building blocks of a disturbing transformation. They were the seeds of a dark path that Nannie would soon tread, a path that would shock the nation and rewrite the annals of crime. These experiences would later play a crucial role in turning Nannie Doss into one of America's most notorious serial killers. The Giggling Granny didn't earn her nickname from a love of laughter, but from a grimmer aspect of her life. Nannie Doss, born and raised in Alabama, may have seemed like your average Southern woman. Yet, behind her seemingly benign exterior, lurked a chilling secret. Doss's tale of terror spans several decades, a period during which she left a trail of death too grim to ignore. 4 husbands, 2 children, her sisters and her mother all met their untimely ends under her care. However, these weren't acts of mercy or accidents. Each death was a calculated act, often executed with poison, Doss's weapon of choice. But what makes her story all the more chilling is the cunning she demonstrated in executing her heinous acts. Doss didn't just poison her victims. She outmaneuvered them, manipulating their trust and exploiting their vulnerability. She was a wolf in sheep's clothing, a predator lurking amidst the unsuspecting. She was cold-hearted too. No bond of love or kinship was strong enough to deter her from her path. The lives she took were not mere numbers. They were her family, people who trusted her, loved her. Yet, she chose to poison them, to end their lives prematurely, without a shred of remorse. And so, the Giggling Granny continued her reign of terror, all the while maintaining a facade of innocence and normality. She slipped through the cracks of suspicion, evading the law's grasp with her disarming charm and seemingly harmless demeanor. Each death, each act of betrayal was another notch on her belt, another victory in her sinister game. But as the death toll kept rising, the law was still far from catching up. Doss's cunning and her ability to blend into the background allowed her to continue her murderous spree, leaving behind a trail of death and heartbreak. The Giggling Granny was still at large, still free to claim more unsuspecting victims. The death toll kept rising, but the law was far from catching up. In 1954, the laughter stopped. The law finally caught up with Nannie Doss. This marked the end of a horrifying killing spree that had lasted for decades. Following the suspicious death of her 5th husband, authorities apprehended Doss and she was placed under arrest. Without hesitation, Doss confessed to the murders, revealing the grim details with an unsettling cheerfulness. Each recount of her heinous acts was punctuated with giggles and smiles, a stark contrast to the grim severity of her crimes. The media, both fascinated and repulsed, closely followed the proceedings. They couldn't help but be captivated by the jovial demeanor of this seemingly harmless woman who was responsible for such atrocities. Her cheerful disposition was so at odds with the nature of her confessions that it struck a chilling note. This contrast was so stark, it earned her an eerie nickname that would forever be etched in criminal history. Her cheerful demeanor during her confessions earned her the chilling nickname, the Giggling Granny. Nannie Doss, the Giggling Granny, had finally met her match, the law. After decades of eluding justice, her murderous spree was put to a halt. She stood in the courtroom, still with a cheerful demeanor, as the judge delivered her fate. She had managed to evade the ultimate punishment, the death penalty. Instead, she was sentenced to life imprisonment. No more husbands to charm, no more lives to claim. She would spend the rest of her life behind bars, far away from any potential victims. Nannie Doss left behind a legacy as dark as her deeds. Her life story stands as a stark counterpoint to societal norms, shattering the traditional image of women and mothers. She, a female serial killer, brazenly defied conventions, using her seemingly harmless facade to conceal her true, murderous nature. Doss's place in criminal history underscores the grim reality that evil can lurk even where we least expect it. A chilling reminder of how deadly a smile can be.